In the grand tapestry of the galactic collective, Earth was a thread barely noticed, a backwater planet on the fringe of the Milky Way, populated by a species the great powers considered primitive. The Zalturi Imperium, a dominant species of crystalline entities, renowned for their advanced technology and disdain for lesser life forms, had taken particular pleasure in mocking the human race. To them, humanity was a joke, a curiosity at best. Among the Zalturi, one name stood out as the epitome of arrogance: Commander Kavaris. Tall and imposing, his crystalline body shimmered with internal energy. His kind had conquered countless worlds, their armies known for annihilating civilizations with surgical precision. When Kavaris was ordered to oversee negotiations with Earth for its compliance and assimilation, he was dismissive. A species that still burns hydrocarbons for energy? They won't even last a cycle. Kavaris had no idea how wrong he was. The Zalturi flagship, Eminence, descended into Earth's orbit like a jagged shard of obsidian. Its arrival was a spectacle of power, its hull glowing with the radiance of quantum shielding. Earth's spacefaring vessels, mostly exploration ships and rudimentary defense craft, were dwarfed by its sheer scale. Kavaris considered the sight of these tin cans laughable. Earth's representatives gathered in a secure chamber deep within the United Nations headquarters. The delegation included military leaders, scientists, and diplomats. At their center was Ambassador Linnea Cartwright, a steely-eyed woman whose reputation for navigating impossible negotiations preceded her. Kavaris materialized in the chamber, his form glowing faintly. "Humans," he began, his voice a resonant hum that vibrated through the air. "The Zalturi Imperium offers you a choice: compliance or extinction." Ambassador Cartwright did not flinch. "Commander Kavaris," she replied, her voice steady, "humanity is not so easily cowed. We are willing to engage in fair negotiations, but threats will not work here." The Zalturi delegation laughed, a crystalline symphony of disdain. Kavaris waved a hand dismissively. "You misunderstand your position. Show me why I shouldn't wipe your species from existence." Kavaris insisted on visiting a human military installation, convinced it would highlight their inadequacy. The delegation took him to Fort Sentinel, a state-of-the-art base hidden in the Rocky Mountains. Inside, Kavaris inspected rows of human soldiers in powered exoskeletons, their weapons sleek but unimpressive by his standards. He observed tanks and drones, none of which appeared capable of penetrating Zalturi armor. "Is this your best?" he sneered. Cartwright motioned toward a smaller building. "You wanted a demonstration. Follow me." Inside, a team of scientists and engineers was working on an experimental device. The resonance array, a weaponized application of quantum entanglement. The lead scientist, Dr. Adrian Fay, explained nervously, This is humanity's answer to overwhelming force. It's still theoretical." Kavaris raised an eyebrow. "Show me." The resonance array required a vast amount of energy. The team connected it to a miniature fusion reactor. The target, a reinforced Zalturi drone equipped with the same shielding used on their starships. Kavaris leaned back, amused. Dr. Fay activated the array. The room filled with a deep hum as the device built up energy. A beam of iridescent light struck the drone. For a moment, it seemed ineffective. Then, with a thunderous crack, the drone imploded, its crystalline armor disintegrating into a fine powder. Kavaris' amusement evaporated. "Impossible," he muttered. Cartwright's voice was icy. "You underestimate humanity, Commander. We adapt." Kavaris demanded to see Earth's real power, his crystalline arrogance as sharp as ever. He expected to find more of the same, a patchwork of primitive technology, laughably cobbled together in a futile bid to appear threatening. But as the human delegation escorted him aboard a sleek orbital shuttle, his first glimpses of Project Unity began to chip away at his smug confidence. The shuttle ascended into the void, its hull shimmering with heat as Earth fell away below. The ride was quiet, save for the occasional murmurs among the human crew. Calvares had nothing to say. His attention was fixed on the distant speck of light near Jupiter. As they drew closer, the speck grew into a colossal structure. The HSS Endeavour emerged, her silhouette backlit by the roiling storms of the gas giant. The ship was gargantuan, larger than even Calvares had anticipated. Unlike Zalturi's ships, with their organic, crystalline symmetry, the Endeavour was rugged and industrial. Its surface was a maze of overlapping armor plates, radiators, and modular components. Though it lacked the elegance of Zalturi engineering, it radiated a different kind of power, raw, utilitarian determination. It was a ship built for a single purpose: survival. As they docked, Calvares observed the airlock with curiosity. The mechanisms, though simple by his standards, functioned with a precision that hinted at countless redundancies. Human technology, it seemed, was built with the assumption of failure and the ingenuity to overcome it. Clever, he thought begrudgingly. The tour. Inside the Endeavour, the corridors buzzed with activity. Engineers, scientists, and soldiers of every conceivable background moved with purpose. Calvares noted the diversity. Humans of different shapes, colors, and languages working together seamlessly. He found it peculiar. Among the Zalturi, individuality was subordinated to the collective. This human chaos was alien to him, yet somehow efficient. Ambassador Cartwright led the way, flanked by a contingent of officers. The Endeavour is a flagship of Project Unity, she explained. It's the result of decades of collaboration between every nation on Earth. When faced with threats like yours, we realized we had no choice but to pool our resources. Calvares cast a disdainful glance at a passing technician, their uniform emblazoned with the flag of a nation he did not recognize. And you trust these disparate factions? History suggests otherwise. Cartwright's eyes narrowed. Trust wasn't the point. Survival was. They entered a massive hangar bay where rows of drones and modular strike craft were being prepared. Unlike the polished drones of the Zalturi, these machines were crude, built for adaptability rather than perfection. Calvares noticed the modular components, wings, engines, and weapons that could be swapped in minutes. The humans had engineered their fleet to evolve on the fly. It's not about who has the shiniest tools, Commander, Cartwright said, catching his gaze. It's about how you use them. The prototype weapon. Cartwright led him to the Endeavour's heart. The gravitational manipulation array, humanity's first successful attempt at weaponizing space-time. The room housing the array was cavernous, dominated by a swirling gyroscopic mechanism suspended in midair by magnetic fields. Its core pulsed with an otherworldly blue light, reminiscent of a dying star. Dr. Elise Morita, the lead physicist, greeted them with a quick bow. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of exhaustion and pride. Commander Calvares, you're looking at the culmination of decades of research. The GMA is designed to generate localized distortions in space-time, effectively creating miniature singularities. Calvares frowned, intrigued despite himself. Localized singularities? Preposterous. Your species barely understands quantum principles. Dr. Morita smirked. True, but necessity breeds innovation, doesn't it? With a nod from Cartwright, the demonstration began. The Endeavor's crew cleared the deck, and a target drone, a hefty slab of Zalturi crystalline alloy, was positioned within the firing range. The GMA powered up, its gyros spinning faster until they became a blur. The entire room thrummed with energy, the air itself shimmering. Then a flash. The target drone crumpled inward, as if an invisible hand had crushed it into a pinpoint. When the light faded, the drone was gone. In its place hung a perfectly spherical void, a distortion of light and gravity that lingered for a moment before dissipating. Kalvari stepped forward, his crystalline form refracting the residual energy. "You built this with what?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. Cartwright's answer was curt. "Resourcefulness, a trait you seem to lack." A subtle warning. Kalvaris turned to her, his crystalline face unreadable. "This weapon is crude, powerful, yes, but unstable. You risk as much harm to yourselves as to your enemies." Dr. Morita shrugged. "Perhaps, but humanity thrives in the face of risk. Every great leap we've made began with an impossible gamble." Cartwright's tone hardened. "This isn't just a weapon, Commander. It's a symbol. We don't need to match your technology. We only need to make the cost of attacking us unbearable." Kalvaris felt a flicker of something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Unease. The humans were far more dangerous than he had given them credit for. They weren't simply reacting to threats. They were preparing for a future where they would be the ones to dictate terms. As they continued the tour, Kalvaris found himself questioning the Zalturi superiority. The Endeavor wasn't just a ship. It was a testament to humanity's ingenuity, unity, and defiance. And in its corridors he sensed the truth. The humans were not afraid of the Zalturi. Not anymore. The Zalturi, impatient with humanity's defiance and eager to assert their dominance, sent a fleet of 5 warships into Earth's orbit. Each vessel was a marvel of crystalline engineering, bristling with weapons capable of tearing moons apart. From the observation deck of the Zalturi flagship, Kalvaris watched with quiet satisfaction as the massive ships took their positions. Their shimmering hulls reflected sunlight, like celestial daggers poised to strike. Earth responded with an invitation. Rather than scrambling in panic, the human delegation suggested a demonstration. A simulation of Earth's defensive strategy against the Zalturi fleet. Kalvaris accepted, confident it would serve as yet another reminder of humanity's inferiority. The simulation begins. The Zalturi vessels were represented by virtual models programmed with their full capabilities, while Earth's forces comprised a mix of real and simulated assets. The humans activated their orbital defense network, a patchwork array of satellites, drones, and ground-based weaponry. To Kalvaris, it was laughable. "You seek to challenge our perfection with this mess," he sneered as the countdown began. Ambassador Cartwright stood nearby, her expression unreadable. "We believe you'll find our methods instructive." The simulation commenced. The Zalturi fleet opened with a salvo of focused energy beams, obliterating a line of Earth's outermost satellites. Kalvaris leaned forward, watching the human response. For a moment, there was none. The silence stretched long enough to elicit a scoff from the Zalturi commander. Then chaos erupted. Unconventional tactics. Human vessels emerged from the shadow of the moon, moving in erratic, unpredictable patterns. Small and agile, they darted between the Zalturi ships, deploying clouds of reflective particles that scattered the crystalline beams. Decoy drones swarmed the fleet, mimicking larger targets and drawing fire. Some detonated on impact, unleashing electromagnetic pulses that disrupted Zalturi targeting systems. Kalvaris frowned. "Your strategy is reckless." Sacrificing assets for minor gains is inefficient. Dr. Adrian Fay, observing from the corner, spoke up. Efficiency isn't the point, Commander. Winning is. The simulation grew more chaotic. Human ships began kamikaze runs, their engines overloading in bursts of energy that destabilized Zalturi shields. Ground-based railguns fired projectiles at relativistic speeds, bypassing the crystalline hulls altogether. From hidden facilities on Earth's surface, massive laser arrays launched continuous assaults, forcing the Zalturi fleet to reposition. The turning tide. The Zalturi ships, designed for precision and overwhelming firepower, faltered in the face of such unpredictability. Their perfect formations broke apart as human forces exploited every vulnerability. A barrage of missiles, launched from stealth submarines beneath the ocean, detonated in the atmosphere, creating a dazzling display of kinetic destruction. The final blow came when a swarm of drones activated the resonance array prototype, focusing its gravitational pulse on the Zalturi flagship. In the simulation, the mighty vessel crumpled inward like a dying star, vanishing into a singularity. Kaveri stood in stunned silence. Your tactics, they are barbaric, chaotic, like cornered predators. Striking without reason, Cartwright stepped closer, her voice low but firm. Because we are predators, Commander. We've spent millennia fighting each other, honing our instincts and adapting to survive. Conflict is in our nature. But now, she gestured to the simulation's conclusion, where the Zalturi fleet had been utterly destroyed. Now we're united. Kavari's returned to his fleet, shaken in a way he hadn't been in centuries. The humans' methods defied everything he understood about warfare. Their willingness to sacrifice, to fight with unrelenting ferocity, had forced him to reconsider his assumptions. A week later, he stood before the United Nations Assembly. The chamber was packed, representatives from every corner of Earth sitting shoulder to shoulder. Holographic displays showed the Zalturi fleet still in orbit, its imposing presence now tempered by uncertainty. Kaveri spoke, his tone measured and respectful. Humans, you have earned the respect of the Zalturi Imperium. Your kind is not weak. Your ingenuity, your defiance, your unity, they are strengths we underestimated. Cartwright smiled faintly. Respect is mutual, Commander. Now, let's discuss peace. The events of the reckoning sent ripples across the galaxy. For centuries, humanity had been dismissed as a backwater species, unworthy of serious consideration. Now, stories of their resilience and ingenuity spread to every corner of the galactic collective. Earth became a symbol of defiance, a beacon for other species who had suffered under the Imperium's dominance. Treaties were signed, alliances formed, and humanity began its ascent as a respected power among the stars. Kavari's, once a symbol of Zalturi arrogance, became an unlikely advocate for Earth. His crystalline form was often seen alongside Cartwright at intergalactic summits, a reminder that even the most entrenched assumptions could be shattered. In time, humanity's greatest strength was revealed not as their technology or tactics, but their unyielding will to persevere. A lesson Kavari's carried with him, a testament to the species he once thought weak.